Hello and welcome back, everyone. How are we feeling? I want all of you to let us know in the chat, like right now, if you're slowing down or if you're ready for some more unforgettable diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging content. Please feel free to share your experience with the rest of the attendees and the NCAA inclusion team via the chat or on social media, again at the hashtags NCAA inclusion and hashtag Title 950. And please be sure to let us know if you are able to draw practical, tangible tools from our concurrent sessions. Also, I would love if you could please show the inclusion team some love. I personally know the team here has been working tirelessly to put on a great show for you all, and they can definitely use your love, support, and compassion right now, as we all can. I truly appreciate you all, not only for being here to continue to impact and continuing to understand the tangible impact that can be had all throughout collegiate sports, but I'm ready to get into the next intro because I know that you all are waiting to hear somebody else and maybe not me, but ultimately because it's time. Time for some more star-studded power and wisdom. First, celebrate the wins. 2, athletics gives you the opportunity to do and be more. 3, remember the importance of life after sport. 4, opportunities are right in front of us. 5, no limitations for yourself and others. 6, one person at the table isn't enough. Bring at least 3. 7, no one is voiceless. We simply may not be listening. 8, always amplify those around you. 9, there is power in seeing yourself in others because we are a reflection of others. 10, make a way and get out of the way. 11, choose yourself. And 12, make and keep the promises to yourself. So with that, thank you so much, Candace Parker and VP or Senior Vice President Felicia Martin. And it's time. It's time for one more exhilarating experience. It's time because now we're gonna crank it up. For the next and final piece, I'd like to ask you for something. Yes, you at your home, in your office, or at any other location you might be joining from today. I'd like to ask you to simply turn up the volume because you don't want to miss this. If you need to, plug in a headset or close the door to avoid distractions. Because for this next piece, I'd like to ask you to open up your mind, pin back your ears, and get ready to behold a phenomenon that will look, sound, and feel like nothing else. Last year, we were fortunate enough to be joined virtually by an inspirational poet and children's rights activist and advocate, Yuri Berry. When Yuri delivered her 2021 piece titled The Audacity of Inclusivity, a few things happened. The chat function exploded, our inbox was flooded, but most importantly, our hearts collectively expanded. We knew immediately that something rare had just happened. Thus, this year, we are proud to host Yuri here at the national office for a highly anticipated performance that, at least for us, simply cannot be matched. Yuri Berry may be most well known as a poet, but don't let that fool you. She is a force to be reckoned with, playing a major role in elevating the voices of young people. She has been involved in youth empowerment work since landing her first internship as a teenager with Breakthrough Collaborative in New Orleans, Louisiana. Berry went on to and founded the Dream Girls Summit, a holistic multi-day conference that gives hundreds of middle and high school girls interested in science, technology, engineering, and math the opportunity to shadow STEM professionals in the workplace during an interactive career experience. This work led to her being nominated Changemaker at the first ever White House Summit on the United State of Women. A justice warrior and a champion of equity committed to elevating marginalized communities, Berry is a former energy, tech, and healthcare consultant and has managed educational and community development projects for Martha's Tables Incorporated, KIPP Los Angeles Schools, Community in Schools, and the Children's Defense Fund. Nominated by the governor of Maryland in 2019, she is the youngest sitting member of the Children Justice Act Committee that helps state develop and operate programs to improve the investigation and prosecution of child abuse and neglect cases. A strategic innovator and PhD candidate at Pepperdine University, Berry attended Spelman College, is a graduate of Loyola New Orleans and Howard University, and holds professional certifications from Northwestern and Harvard University. An orator, writer, and published poet, Berry has delivered a keynote address at Facebook's headquarters in Silicon Valley, performed spoken word during the College World Series, and empowered thousands from the pulpit of the historic Washington National Cathedral, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached his final sermon. Berry is an NYC-based New Orleans native who grew up with a deep appreciation for Creole cuisine, art, jazz, and diverse cultures. She consciously utilizes her diverse, led, and lived experiences and poetically invites audiences to dive deeper into themselves and the world around them. Yuri, it is my pleasure to be bringing you to the stage again, and I am excited to hear what I know will be a riveting message. Please all join me in welcoming Yuri Berry to the stage.
Thank you, Leland. Thank you to the NCAA and the Dynamic Inclusion team for the invitation, for the introduction, for welcoming me into your home, and the opportunity to share space and offer a call to action. Imagine landing in a town to share this moment with you today. Yet hours after landing, you learn someone near and dear has passed away, and the first question you're asked is, do you need to go back home? And although the world was already shrinking and moving really fast around me, I responded, no, I don't need to go back. I will not go back because I need us to move forward. Because we need to move forward. Because this conversation is important, because it is time to stop procrastinating, stop delaying, stop playing and wasting time as if tomorrows are somehow guaranteed to do and be and change all the things we should have been doing and being and changing all along, things we are more capable of doing, being, and changing right now today. Therefore, I only have one question for you. What if we told the truth? What if we told the truth? Because my truth is that a year ago, I told you how I was hesitant and scared to speak because I felt like an imposter. How before I could jump to unpacking diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, I needed to interrogate why my mind could not escape the thought that I, here before you that day, an imposter, a fraud, a fake, because I wasn't sure that I belonged. How hours before logging on, I asked myself that perhaps the NCAA was wrong in inviting me to speak and sing a poetic song about inclusion, a word that literally means included. Because like me, when you're native to marginalized groups and not used to being authentically and meaningfully included, when historically the voices, perspectives, stories, and songs of people who look, live, and love like you have been muted, the moment you're finally invited into the room and asked to speak your truth, then some part of you wonders if this is an authentic invitation to walk into that space, not needing to check any part of who you are at the door. Or if this is just another one of those days where you're still just 3/5 human, tasked with making your raw, unedited, unfiltered, unquestionably deep, painful chapters of your lived experience more polished and palatable for mass consuming, to pretty up and water down, massively diluting the heartbreak of erasure and what it means to constantly, at times, quite blatantly be excluded. A cyclical, unseen psychological violence. So yes, the moment when you are finally seen, finally willing to be heard, finally invited into the room and given the opportunity to speak, sometimes the only language left within you is silence. And I'd still be lying if I said the insecurities within me, birthing from years of invisibility, isn't perpetually successful in ensuring my refusal to go far beyond my comfort zone and speak truth to power unafraid. Yet the words and wisdom my mind could not and cannot escape is the reminder, affirming those who went before us did not endure hell on earth and overcome the impossible for me and you to walk through these offices and these universities and these courts and tracks and fields and this life, believing that we have the option to waste time and to not be brave. You see, our matriarchs, our ancestors, the pioneers and trailblazers, and frankly, those those on the ground in the trenches who worked tirelessly, often without acknowledgement or credit, to knock down doors and shatter glass ceilings to help advance equity, did not and do not live through hell, enduring the impossible. For us to believe we have the option to waste time and not be brave. You see, right now, here today, it is time. It is time for us to continue to find some courage and be brave, for audacious leadership, to stop ignoring the elephants in the room, to call inequity and injustice out the first time, the second time, and every time until it is the last time, because it is time. You see, it's been time. Because if diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging are the goals, we must be brave. We must be honest about our unspoken truth and our pain, our heartbreak and our rage, our privilege, our incompetence, our bias, our ignorance, our egos, and our arrogance, to keep gathering on Zooms and in rooms, habitually making decisions and rules for and on behalf of people disproportionately represented and oftentimes not represented at all in that space. Then wonder why many feel excluded without a place as they go from one room to another, where not a single leader or person shares their struggle, their story, or their face, and expect anyone to authentically and genuinely believe us when we say we are committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. No, we are not. Can we tell the truth? You see, I believe many of you hope and want to be. But true, consistent, ongoing, tangible, transformative investment and commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in this country is a reality I have yet to see. A reality that will never be until we are brave enough to tell the truth. What if we told the truth? That if we wanted to stop being racist, we could. That if we wanted to stop being sexist, we could. That if we wanted to stop being homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, we could. That if we wanted to stop treating immigrants like second-class humans, we could. That if we wanted to ensure every second grader in this country could learn to read in a safe environment and dream of things they'll do and study one day at many of your universities without the threat of bullets ravaging their precious bodies after lunchtime, we could. That if we wanted to pay women their worth, so traveling overseas to earn a living, take care of themselves, support their families, and meet their basic needs would be a choice rather than a necessity. Brittany, we see you, we could. That if we wanted to make systemic investments in women, racial and ethnic minorities, those living with disabilities, we could. That if we wanted to make Title IX an everyday reality and not just historic tokenism, and enjoy and empty policies, we could. That if we wanted to create a culture and universities and companies and a society that valued diversity, affirmed racial and gender equity, respected women, embraced immigrants, stopped pimping students, made provisions for those navigating physical and mental challenges, protected children and elders, and refused to perpetuate this human hierarchy where some of us are more human than others, are more worthy than others, are more valued than others, are more respected and protected than others, not based on the content of their character, capabilities, or competence, rather solely based on what meets the eye. We could. I believe we could and we can. That if we truly made up our minds to do inclusion authentically, to courageously obliterate our refusal, to get uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, and take a deeper dive, we could. If we wanted to, if we committed to, if we were determined to, if today we decided that this isn't merely something we want to do, could or should do, rather something we will and must do, we could. That sometimes the only reason why we don't do is because we don't want to. What if we told the truth? What if you took a leap and shared how the absence of authentic systemic diversity, inclusion, and equity and belonging policy and practices hurt and impacts you? What if you, as leaders, listened without judgment or needing to defend, but simply listened with intent to understand the truth being shared with you? What if we stopped hoping for change and talking about change and commit instead to being courageous enough to do our part, to bring forth the change and do what we need to do? One of my favorite poets, the legendary J. Smith, once said, if you're looking for an image of God, look into my eyes. It made me wonder how different our world could be if when we saw others, we didn't inherently see strangers, rather dared to look for their humanity. Dare to see something beautiful and special and divine in them versus whatever toxic images and stereotypes we've been conditioned to believe. What if we saw each other more as a community of collaborators and not competition, on the same team and not enemies? It's easy to disregard, disrespect, and ignore when we look into another's eyes and see property and not people. When we see profits and not people, when we see benchmarks, goals, and objectives and not people, when we only see ourselves, our preferences, our needs, what makes us comfortable and not other people. What if we told the truth? You see, today I stand before you without regret and apology, refusing to dumb down my brilliance or alter myself for your embrace. So no, I will not unnecessarily change my hair, soften my accent, lay down my culture to make my black girl magic more palatable for mass consumption. I thought about straightening my hair today, but I wore braids because I will not water down my black for you. I stand before you on the shoulders and with the strength of my ancestors. So even if I wanted to, I cannot water down my black for you until it is brown, until it is gentrified, until it is invisible, until you do not see, nor hear, nor feel me, until I am erased. I will not disappear for you. I will not keep working twice as hard to get half as far. I will not keep pretending your single diversity hire is enough. It is not. Your equity and inclusion statements are a start, but if you are not willing to change your policies and put your budget where your mouth is, save your sorry and opt for silence until you are ready to mean what you say and do what you said you were going to do. You see, diversity, equity, and inclusion is worth more than whatever's left over in your budget and the few minutes you can spare at the end of the day. So no, I will not be less woman for you, will not unnecessarily discard my femininity to appear more masculine, only to be respected because, well, there's no way I'll ever allow some little girl in a skirt to lead me. Because our dismissiveness of women screams, is she even capable of leading? As if constructs like race, gender, and age automatically determine one's competence and brilliance. So no, I will not compromise my fly because you decided I was too young and stupid to teach you anything. As if growth has an expiration date regardless of educational attainment or age. We should all be learning something new every day. Believe me when I say the isms in our society and in our workplace have no place. We should not need to put down, water down, throw away, hide away, or erase the essence of who we are and all that makes us unique for us to coexist. You see, what if we told the truth? That some of us change and rearrange our names because using the name our mothers gave us means we might not get promoted, get the job, or the interview because people read 2 words and decide they know you before saying hello. But what if we dared to stand in truth and be our authentic self, to be brave enough to check all of our boxes with pride? It is Pride Month. And make this world adjust because it is time. You see, this moment makes me ponder my grandfather, a brilliant man, Louisiana roots, California branches, a veteran, a pilot, an airman, Tuskegee. You see, his black was good enough to fight our country's wars, but apparently not great enough to be employed as a commercial pilot upon his return from that war. Yet in the face of racism, Jim Crow, and perpetual defeat, he did not back down or give up or lose sight of his purpose, his mission on earth, or his dream. Instead, he did what some of us, once we reach a certain level or status, refuse to do, and that was whatever needed to be done. So he worked at the U.S. Post Office until he could open his own flying school, training over 500 pilots. He taught them to fly, and by example taught me what it means to have grit, to have grace, goal-setting abilities, guts, and the unmitigated gall, refusing to allow obstacles of any kind to deter me from manifesting dreams. He dared to take the first step even when he didn't see the whole staircase, which inspires me, which should inspire you to start taking steps even when we don't see the whole staircase. You see, his success isn't what inspires me. Rather, his fortitude and the audaciousness to stand taller, prouder, and even more prepared, even after experiencing defeat every time life knocked him down. His journey reminds me of the quote affirming, "The miracle isn't that I finished. The miracle is that I had the courage to start." What if today we had the courage to start? Something new, something unfamiliar, something that may even be intimidating, to move forward and not quit, even when it gets tough, especially when it gets tough, so that everyone has access to the abundant life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness we love to speak of here in this country. So that even those, like my grandfather, born without the right skin color, zip code, or wealth, only dreams, can transform generations for years to come by leaving a beautiful legacy. It is time. It is time for us to stop telling lies. Because if we are not willing to truly commit to true justice and healing, we might as well put a pin in the conversation on inclusion, equity, and diversity, because not even university can teach you how to stop hating and hurting me. If when you see me, you don't actually see a human being? What if we told the truth? That sometimes we lose hope. But guess what? We cannot afford to be hopeless, nor can we afford for you to be silent or idle in times such as this. Not when our children are watching and waiting for us to be the role models they deserve. What if we asked, what can I do to help you feel valued the next time you walk into a room, to help you feel safe? What if we asked those questions? What if we asked more questions with the intent of ensuring everyone in the circle feels they belong, instead of fast forwarding to argue and our defense mechanisms because we're so hell-bent on remaining closed-minded and proving others wrong? It's time for us to stop lying to ourselves, pretending we tell the truth when the truth is there is no way you can tell it to others if you don't first tell it to you. What if we told the truth? You see, sometimes I wonder how great we could really be if we had enough courage to say, I don't know, to say, I don't care. I'm in pain. I need help. I'm scared. I'm sorry. When's the last time you apologized and welcomed accountability? You see, human beings are too brilliant not to figure out how to coexist in harmony. We are too brilliant a people and a species not to figure out how to coexist in harmony. We are better than this, or at least we ought to be. What if we told the truth? That we don't need you to pretend not to see everyone's beautiful, unique differences or be colorblind when diversity was always the design. No, we need you to see. We need you to be yourself without apology, daring to be tough in the moments that matter, to be soft in a world that is hard enough, to be fair, unlike a justice system, yet learning how to be just, to be warmth as if the universe is not already freezing, as if there are not already enough mothers grieving. What if you use your power to do a new thing, for a new thing, to actually do things that will make freedom and liberation ring for everyone? It is time. The call to action is ringing. Your call to action is ringing. So pick up, get up, speak up, stand up, level up. Because it is time. It's time to stop believing we have time to delay. I hope you will join us in allowing today to be commitment day, to be bold, to be brave, to no longer delay for tomorrow what we have, what we are being called to do in this moment right now, today, because we do not have time to waste. It is time. Thank you.
The truth is, I can't say anything that Yuri hasn't already. And my grandmother often says, when you have nothing to say, don't say anything at all. We are extremely close to the end of our time here together, and I'd like to invite the only person that can sum up this experience properly. As I try to hold it together, all please welcome one more time to the stage NCAA Managing Director of Inclusion, Dr. Amy Wilson, for closing remarks.
Leland, thank you so much. And I'm also getting my composure. I want to just, Yuri, thank you. Thank you for being with us. One of our overarching goals, our main goal of this event, is that we learn together, we realize we're not in this alone, and that we become emboldened, we become empowered. There are takeaways where we can make a differences in our athletics departments and on our campuses. And Yuri's remarks remind us of how important this is, and it is a true call to action. So Yuri, thank you for ending us in such an amazing way. We thank you for being with us for these 2 days. It has been amazing to be with you, your engagement. Diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging work is so important. It is also challenging, and we must remember that we have each other. We must encourage self-care so that we can rise together. Dr. Ali Joseph, who is a faculty athletic rep at Northern Arizona University, was in one of our sessions today on a diversity, equity, and inclusion review framework that we're going to be releasing to the membership in just a matter of days. And in her many insightful comments, she talked about DEIB work and justice work being heart work. It is. It is the core of who we are. Nothing matters more. And we must recommit ourselves to doing all we can to ensure that our student athletes, that those who coach them, who teach them, who administer them, have an environment where they can reach their potentials, be their true selves, and that we can make all of this better for everyone. I mentioned last night, after the amazing Billie Jean King and LaChina Robinson presentation, that I work with the best team on the planet. And as we close tonight, I want to acknowledge them and actually bring them up here with me. They have been dedicated for several months to bring this event together. We're already talking about in person next April. They have worked tirelessly to create a number of new resources that we'll be releasing this summer. And I want to thank them with all my heart for being amazing people who are so compassionate and care so much about serving our membership with diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice. So I call you up to join me. Naya Blair Hackworth, Gretchen Myron, Keena Davis, Abigail Edwards, our newest member, Sade Sleep. And we say hello to our teammate, Shay Wallach, who is not in the building with us, but has been working with us these last few days. We also say to Dr. Jean Merrill, we can't wait for you to be with us next week. And I want to say, please join us, our leader, official leader of a few months, who's been with us for a year, the amazing Felicia Martin, our senior vice president. So, and, you know, I don't know what to say about him. I could do all these adjectives. He's the king of adjectives, right? Unmatched, unparalleled, energy, enthusiasm, passion. I can't do it as well as you do, but I'm just going to bring Leland up to carry this out. Leland, all right. You, Leland.
If you are at home, I'd like to have one round of applause virtually for these people behind me, because they are the reason that and I know many of you at home continue to do the work that you do. Also, thank you to the beautiful and illustrious crew that is also ensuring that this show goes off with a hitch. Thank you. As our time nears an end, thank you to everyone being with us. The 2022 NCAA Inclusion Forum has come to an end, but the cause endures and the work continues. Please be sure to rank the sessions before you leave the platform, and please be on the lookout for a comprehensive survey that will be sent to you next week. Remember that majority of the recordings in most sessions will be accessible on this platform for the next 30 days, starting early next week, and eventually those will be uploaded to ncaa.org/inclusion. And before you ask, yes, we are going back to an in-person inclusion forum next year. So please save the date, April 21st through the 23rd, 2023, here in Indianapolis. Thank you to all of the wonderful speakers who shared the stage and enlightened us. Thank you to the American Sign Language interpreters who work hard in supporting us. Thank you again to the inclusion team whose efforts to put together this amazing event are beyond commendable, and to our amazing, again, AV crew who made it possible. But most importantly, thank you to all of you in attendance for joining us with the shared mission of delivering on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It really is time. See you next year in Indianapolis. Good night, everybody.